In a world that increasingly emphasizes instant gratification and the pursuit of pleasure, the ancient philosophy of Stoicism offers a compelling counter-narrative. A Stoic view on masculinity doesn't conform to societal expectations based on dominance, sexual prowess, or physical strength, but rather revolves around self-control, virtue, and the mastery of one's own desires. One of the most pressing aspects of this philosophy is its approach to sexuality. In modern times, the urge for sexual gratification can easily become a driving force in one's life, but the Stoic philosopher argues that surrendering control to such impulses strips away true masculinity. To be controlled by desire, rather than exercising mastery over it, is to lose sight of the very essence of manhood. 1. The Stoic foundations. Control over desires. At the core of Stoicism is the idea that we should differentiate between what is in our control and what is not. This simple but profound distinction is the cornerstone of the Stoic worldview. Our desires, including sexual ones, fall under the category of things we can control. The Stoics believe that true freedom comes when we are no longer slaves to our own passions. In their eyes, desires are not inherently bad, but they must be disciplined and examined for their role in our lives. The Stoics held that if we cannot control our desires, we will never be free, as they will constantly dictate our actions, steering us away from rational decisions and true fulfillment. Epictetus, one of the foremost Stoic philosophers, emphasized that freedom is the only true possession. He explained that while external circumstances are often beyond our control, we always have the power to regulate our inner world, our thoughts, actions, and desires. This ability to control one's internal state is what separates human beings from animals, and it is the hallmark of true strength. A man who is ruled by his sexual desires is, in essence, not living freely, but rather living under the thumb of his impulses. 2. Sexuality and masculinity. In today's society, masculinity is often defined by physical power, sexual dominance, and the ability to control others. The media, entertainment, and even social structures often present masculinity as being synonymous with the conquest of women or the demonstration of sexual prowess. However, the Stoics propose a radically different kind of masculinity, one defined not by dominance or the number of sexual conquests, but by inner strength, moral fortitude, and self-mastery. For a Stoic, true masculinity doesn't lie in the ability to satisfy every whim or indulge in lustful desires. Instead, it is found in the ability to transcend one's impulses and live in accordance with reason. A man who is ruled by his sexual desires is, in essence, not living as a true man. He is allowing a base instinct to guide his actions, rather than virtue, reason, or purpose. The Stoics believed that the true measure of masculinity is the ability to remain calm, focused, and disciplined in the face of life's challenges, including the most primal urges. True manhood lies not in indulging every temptation, but in being able to rise above them. In this sense, the Stoic man is not bound by societal expectations that link masculinity to sexual exploits. Rather, his masculinity is based on his capacity to master his desires, to act with wisdom, and to pursue excellence in all aspects of life. This form of masculinity is not about impressing others with physical prowess or sexual conquest, but about building a life grounded in virtue, integrity, and strength of character. The power of sexual self-control. Sexual self-control is not about repression or denial, but about understanding the transient nature of pleasure and the greater goal of virtuous living. The Stoic view does not call for complete celibacy or the rejection of sexual relationships altogether, but rather advocates for a balanced and rational approach to sexuality. The Stoics argued that while sex can be a natural and fulfilling part of life, it should never become an obsession or a source of disruption in one's quest for virtue. Seneca, another influential Stoic philosopher, often emphasized the importance of moderation in all things. He wrote that excess in any form, including sexual indulgence, leads to the erosion of virtue and self-control. A man who allows himself to be controlled by his sexual urges risks losing his capacity for rational thought and meaningful action. In the Stoic view, the pursuit of pleasure, including sexual pleasure, should never come at the expense of one's moral compass or the pursuit of a virtuous life. The Stoic man must learn to navigate life's pleasures with the wisdom that comes from understanding their fleeting nature and not allowing them to overshadow more important pursuits. The Stoic practice of self-control requires constant awareness and vigilance. A Stoic man is ever mindful of the dangers of excess, including in the realm of sexuality. He does not seek to suppress his desires, but instead seeks to understand them, recognize when they arise, and determine whether acting on them aligns with his values. In this way, Stoic sexual self-control is about ensuring that one's actions are in harmony with reason and virtue, rather than being swayed by impulse or desire. 4. Lust and the loss of reason. Lust is one of the most powerful and pervasive desires humans face. It can cloud judgment and lead individuals to make decisions they otherwise wouldn't. The Stoics believed that desires such as lust, when unchecked, could dominate a person's life and divert them from their higher purpose. When a man succumbs to lust, he surrenders his ability to reason and act according to his true nature. This is where the Stoics draw the line. Lust, if left unchecked, is not just an occasional indulgence, but a force that can take over one's life, distorting judgment and leading to decisions that undermine the pursuit of virtue. The Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius famously said, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." This phrase can be applied to the Stoic view on lust. When we allow ourselves to be controlled by base desires, we become slaves to our impulses, in the same way that someone who harms us loses their moral integrity. Lust, in particular, distorts our ability to make sound judgments and leads us to act in ways that diminish our character. It is not simply an issue of sexual ethics, but an existential issue about the nature of manhood and the preservation of reason in a world full of distractions. For the Stoic, to live a virtuous life means to resist the temptation of lust and other passions. It means to act with integrity, to resist the pull of temporary pleasures, and to focus on long-term fulfillment, a fulfillment that comes from living virtuously and in harmony with nature. Lust diminishes a person's character and robs them of their autonomy, while self-control restores their sense of self-mastery and purpose. 5. How to achieve sexual mastery, according to Stoicism. So how can one achieve mastery over their sexual desires? The first step is awareness. The Stoic practice of mindfulness, which encourages individuals to be aware of their thoughts and actions, is crucial in the pursuit of self-control. This practice enables individuals to pause before acting on impulse, recognizing the underlying desire and choosing whether or not to act on it. By training the mind to recognize desires without automatically acting on them, one can begin to regain control over their impulses. Additionally, self-reflection is key. By regularly examining one's life and actions, a person can identify where they may be allowing impulses to govern them. The Stoics encourage individuals to constantly strive for improvement, setting aside moments of introspection to determine how they can better live in alignment with their values. This continual process of self-examination and self-discipline is what enables a Stoic to live a life of meaning rather than being driven by momentary desires. Furthermore, the Stoic practice of negative visualization, imagining the loss of pleasures and comforts, can help diminish the power of desire. By regularly considering how fleeting pleasures are and imagining the consequences of being controlled by them, a person can develop a stronger sense of detachment from them. This practice, in turn, allows one to gain mastery over their desires and live a more focused, intentional life. 6. The role of virtue and masculinity. For the Stoics, virtue is the highest good. This encompasses wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. A true man, in the Stoic sense, is not someone who seeks power, dominance, or sexual conquests, but someone who seeks to live virtuously and with purpose. The Stoics believe that the pursuit of virtue should be the guiding principle of one's life, and that all other desires, including sexual ones, should serve this greater goal. The Stoic perspective on sexuality offers a timeless lesson. A man who is controlled by his desires is not living in accordance with his true nature. True masculinity, from a Stoic point of view, is not about dominance, power, or indulgence, but about self-control, virtue, and reason. The Stoics teach us that by mastering our desires, including sexual ones, we reclaim our freedom and become the men we are meant to be. True masculinity is not about conquering others, but about conquering oneself.